I'm delighted to welcome today Eva Rickett, who is the founder and owner of, and it's rather ironic because normally I'm interviewing people who with wellness scans, but you do scan. You founded Henley Scan, but it's not my normal type of scan. It's not a wellness scan. Tell us about Henley Scan. Welcome, Eva.
Thank you, Elaine. Thank you for having me. We scan and digitize and transfer and convert old media, be it film footage, images, audio. So think videos, cinefilms, and we make people's memories become more accessible, which is a really happy thing to do because memories aren't always good, but walking down and figuring out what's happened and seeing memories that you might not have seen or heard for a long time is precious.
Absolutely. My father died in 1976, and unfortunately, I've barely got any photos of him, just a few here and there. But with my mother, there's a recording of her coming down the stairs on her 80th birthday and being surprised by what the grandchildren had prepared for her and so on. And I look at that every now and then, and as you say, it really is precious. It's very special. So how did you create Henley Scan? Why did you create Henley Scan?
Well, it's interesting you said you lost your dad in 76, because so did I. So and I was only 11 and he was only 39. So I think I had quite a lot lost quite early on in my life. Plus I'm Swedish and I've then lived in England and in Australia when I was younger as well. So I've moved around a lot and I've had to really analyze why certain things have been so important to me. And I think in the old days when we moved before social media and things, we lost, even though we didn't physically lose people and they didn't die, we moved away from our homes, our schools, our neighbors, and that was the end of it, unless one was very good at writing letters, really. Which means that I think what we had, like you said, there wasn't this overload of digital photos that we have nowadays. We're very, very precious. And about 20 years ago, I was home in Sweden and my brother had started taking the odd photo out of mum's albums and I couldn't cope with it. So I said, I'm taking these albums to England. Very sad, but extremely exciting for me. My husband gave me a scanner for my wedding anniversary and I started scanning my life because that was important to me. And then my brother got really cross with me and then I created photo books and gave my sister and my brother and my mum and me a photo book, so we all had everything. And my brother apologized and I think more or less cried, and that was the start of it. And then I had friends saying, oh, do it for me too, and all these kind of things. And then my husband said about 5 years ago, he said, Eva, I think there's a business here, and the kids had grown away, and I started, and it was a small little hobby business from home, and we grew. And then Graham came on board in November 2019, my husband, which with COVID around the corner was not brilliant, but it was what it was. And then I was quite scared about what our future looked like first lockdown, but people had time to go through all their lofts and all their garages. And then we got very busy, but also I think the whole fear factor, which I think COVID gave us, which seems such a long time ago now, made us really appreciate where we come from and who we are and what are our journeys. And we then got busy, and then we started a shop 2 years ago, nearly exactly, on Henley High Street, which has been wonderful. Obviously, with the cost of living and everything else going on at the moment, it's not as lucrative as it was, but we're ploughing through.
Excellent, absolutely excellent. So what type of things do people bring to you? Are you just talking about photographs, or I see behind you you've got a variety of different video machines?
So VHS tapes, which are getting old now, you know, some of those will soonish, well, if that's years or months, I can't tell you because it depends how they've been stored, but they came with a lifetime of 20 to 25 years, and they are there now. So we do a lot of VHS tapes. Tends to be a wedding video often. The husband very often comes in before a anniversary and say, I've got this, or people are clearing out their cupboards and they're saying, I found all these tapes, I haven't got a clue what's on them, because who's got a tape recorder? And then you've got the camcorder tapes that were newer and all different. They got smaller and smaller and smaller before we started filming on the phones. And then cinefilms, which is from when you and I were little girls, really. And that's my favorite media. I just find them quite romantic. I quite like that there isn't very often sound on them, because especially, I mean, we've got camcorder tapes with our kids, and I'm quite often screaming and shouting like a fishwife, where you don't have that with the cine films. And then slides is another one. We've had a lot of slides in this morning because, again, people can't really see them. The slides is my husband's favorite media, because there was normally a very keen photographer behind them, and they have normally been already sorted, where, I mean, I don't know what kind of photographer you were, but I was an okay one, but not excellent. And therefore, my photographs when I was younger, you know, there are some that aren't that good, where it's very rare you see bad slide photos. And then we've got photos, normal photos, which tends to be for the reason I did it, so you can share it and everyone can have everything. But the photographs from the 60s and 70s have quite often got an orange hue to them. And we can, in post-scanning, get rid of all those things. We also repair and restore photographs if they're ripped or faded, or have got mold marks, or someone spilled coffee on them or something. And that tends to be, we've had a lot of those lately, and I think it's because if we go back further generations, for our mothers and grandmothers, there might only have been 3 or 4 photos that were from their life, so they are extra special, and therefore people wants to put money onto us actually restoring them and reprinting them.
Wow, I didn't know that was a possible thing, that if there was mold or coffee stains or anything like that, you could refurbish them. That's amazing. Oh, well done.
Is, and AI is helping us more. So there's been new AI coming out in the software with Photoshop lately, and they astound me. You know, it's like, because if I had to restore a photograph of your mother and I don't have a photo to see what she looked like, I sometimes take half a face and try to sort of mirror it, which is, we are not made like that, but AI can sort of calculate angles and algorithms, and like they can do certain things quicker, and people say, oh, are you scared they're going to take your work away? And I'm not. I'm just looking forward to being able to do a better job. And when someone comes in with a really, really bad photo, it's not cost effective for them to spend a whole days of my time to get it done, where if I can do it in maybe 2 or 3 hours, it'd be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Absolutely incredible. I'm thinking here now of people whose families are, you know, where mothers, fathers are starting to lose their marbles, and maybe capturing them, you know, when they're having their good moments and that type of. Do you get much of that?
Yep. And we do what I call this is your life memory books. So we might do a photo book, which may, you know, if you do it on certain kind of paper that's wipeable, again, it doesn't matter if anything happens to them. And then the carer or whoever is looking after, you know, the person in our lives that we love but we're not together with 24/7, they might be able to get that insight for those 10 minutes a day when maybe they are completely lucid and can talk about, oh yes, or another thing, because my mum's got vascular dementia at the moment, is also trying to tell the carers around her that once she was a young fantastic lady and she was voluntarily in the Swedish army and all these kind of things. And it's just nice to see that, you know, we weren't all that shell of ourselves that we are maybe at this stage.
Absolutely, it's heartbreaking. I have a friend at the moment whose mother literally has just gone into a home because they can't cope anymore, you know, in a domestic situation. It's very sad. So hypothetically speaking, if somebody had these video shots from their phone, say, and there's maybe a compilation of them that they can pull together, what would they do? Would they email them to you, or put them on a memory stick and then you put it into some book or other?
So we can give a so if the footage from the phones, not in the videos, not photographs, then what we can do is we can give a download link, and then you can download things onto it, because it's really important we get as good quality as possible, which is more important when we're trying to print photos. What we can then do is we can do compilation video. We also do something called video books, which is a bit like a booklet with an LED screen inside it. So when you open it, it can then play it. And then we can then create, I normally call it a fancy sticker of photographs or messages that you can put on the front and inside cover of this book, which again, we did quite a few over COVID, where we sent happy messages, you know, from families to someone in a home. But also when we're talking about the generation that might not be so tech savvy, they don't have to think about anything, no computer, no Kindles, no iPads, no nothing. They just open it and it starts playing for them. And we did quite a few for 50th and 60th birthdays and things like that as well, where everyone was sending a lot of messages, and we took it all and compiled it all together.
Wow, how fabulous. I'd love you to come and talk at our Friday Health Club one week to talk all about this to our members. It's fascinating. Absolutely.
I'd be delighted to.
Fabulous. That's the right answer. Thank you. Do you work with photographers or videographers?
On and off. So our best referrals are probably people who are declutterers, or some estate agents in town might tell people when they are moving down. So again, it's decluttering, but it could be for whatever reason. And then unfortunately, we do deal with families, obviously, after someone's died. Sometimes it's for the celebration itself, the celebration of the life, or the funeral. People call it different things. We might make a big foam board that we create out of photo, or we sort of, a lot of people say, this is the best photo of my mum, but it's damaged. Can you sort it out for the order of service? And then they tend to come back once they're starting to go through everything to make sure that we can share. And because the way we live all over the world, which both you and I proved that we don't live where we actually came from, and we're not unusual, a lot of people have families all over the world, and once you've digitized something, it's so easy to share it, and then everyone has everything, and you don't have to sort of feel greedy if you take more than your fair share, or you don't feel like you have to lose out by not getting what you really want.
It's sad. I'm thinking now, in my mind's eye, I can see a huge big bag of photographs that my mum never had time to go through with me. She kept saying, "Oh, I must go through with that bag of photos sometime." It's like an overnight weekend case, or a large version of that, full of photos, and I don't know who half the people are. My daughter's not interested. So I don't know what to do with them, and it's not practical to scan them in, and I don't know who the people are anyway. So
I normally say, if you don't know who the people are and you don't know anyone who can tell you, you might as well bin the photos, because otherwise it could be my relatives.
Yes.
And this is part of the reason we try to say it's a nice thing to do before we lose people. It doesn't help you in any way or form whatsoever at this stage. But it's actually starting talking to whoever it is around us that knows the stories behind the photos. I tried a little bit with my mum a couple of years ago, and we went through some photos, and I just put my phone on, because obviously we have got a brilliant recording device with us, most of us, all the time. And she got tired quite quickly, but I did find out some real gems, because there was photographs among our photographs from a family with my grandfather and her when they were little, and it turned out it was mum's pen friend in Denmark, which I never knew about.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah.
I'm be writing a book. I've been threatening it for a long time. I'm multi-published, and I've had been part of 3 #1 Amazon bestsellers. I'm not
well
new
done.
to writing, but people keep saying to me about my whole story, but my whole story covers lots of different people. So I've decided I'm going to do it in letter form. I'm going to write to important people in my life over, however many years and different generations and so on. And you give me the idea of maybe somehow incorporating photos or videos or whatever and digitizing it, rather than having it as a real, a book to flick through, because there's so much media. Some time ago, I did a blog, and I had stage 4 cancer 8 years ago, and was given
I'm sorry
to live. No, it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me, because I can't help people, without referring to my experience. So I can help more people now, because I've been through it and out the other side. I wrote a blog, and a lot of the links in the blog are now broken, and I don't have the energy or wherewithal to, time or whatever to go through it. So I'm thinking maybe I could do that also. I could bring some of that into it as well. Food for thought. Very interesting.
Look forward to seeing where you're taking it.
Yes, yeah. So how do people get hold of you, Eva?
We've got a shop in Henley on Thames, but I'm on Instagram. I was going to say Henley Scans on Instagram and Facebook, Eva Rickett on LinkedIn, and as a shop, we got shops, we've got a proper shop front in Henley, and we're open Monday to Friday, full days, half days, Saturday. And one of our team members lives in Basingstoke, so she does a drop-off point there as well. We do get stuff in the post every week, maybe about 3 different customers per week average from anywhere in the UK. We've had a couple of international customers. I only recommend it from internationally if you can make sure it's tracked as a parcel all the way, so i.e. courier.
Yeah, and also with the digital uploading of phone videos, you can take anybody from any country, can't you, really, now?
Very true, yes.
Marvellous, fabulous. I was really delighted to talk to you, Eva, and I look forward to inviting you to the health club.
Thank you.